it is not so. We always feel that it is very exciting subject, it is enjoyable subject, it is beautiful subject. And the whole attempt of this lecture series of 15 lectures is to convince this fact, convince this single line agenda that mathematics is very beautiful, very enjoyable. And one lighter side of the subject is recreational mathematics. Though I say that this is a lighter side, this is a full-fledged branch of mathematics now. It has emerged as a bona fide branch of mathematics, and people do carry out research in recreational mathematics. Some of them are amateur mathematicians, but some professional mathematicians also contribute to this recreational mathematics. So this is a very interesting area, and all mathematicians, pure, applied, senior, junior, the top rank mathematics also enjoy this side of the subject. So I am going to just introduce you to this recreational mathematics today. It's a huge subject, and I understand that it cannot be covered in one lecture, though I will try to give some glimpses of this recreational mathematics by way of showing you some jokes, some cartoons, some poetry, some anecdotes. Mathematicians, though, are thought of as very kind of eccentric people. They show some sense of humor many times. Their expressions bring out some humor, and then I would like to share such anecdotes with you in this particular lecture. Let's see how it goes. So again, I'm sure you're ready for this one. Relax, enjoy. Next. It's a very special day also. It's our Independence Day. So I wish all of you my best wishes on this 74th Independence Day of India, 15th August. Next. This is a mathematical tribute to the special day, Independence Day. I thought I'm delivering this lecture on 15th August. So let me show you something from mathematics that I want to pay tribute to my nation. So see the first row, 15th August 2020. And I've constructed this magic square for you. And what is magic square? So there is going to be a full session on magic square later. But magic square is a square where if you take any row, like first row, if you take second row, third row, whatever, then sum is constant. So in this case, the first row is forced on us, that is 15th 2020, and the sum is 63. So other numbers are adjusted so that sum is 63 for all the rows, all the columns, not only columns and rows, but also diagonal. What is diagonal here? 15, 40, 22, 12. So you can add up for yourself. 15 plus 14, 29, plus 22, 49, 51, plus 12, 63. Done. So you can take any row or column or any diagonal. It's a magic square, and the first row is 15th August 2020. Okay. See, this date you can always choose. So this kind of magic squares you can also use for sending your friends, loved ones, on the occasion of their birthdays. You choose their date of birth as a first row, or you can choose their date of birth as diagonal or second row, whichever you feel like, and then construct a magic square and send them. They will be happy. They will be happy to see this magic fun in their life on verge of their birthdays. So do construct magic square, but I have not told you construction. Okay. So please consult me later on when you want to send something like this to your loved ones. I will tell you. In fact, there will be a session where I will show you how to construct this. Okay. Now let's begin with the fun. I will begin with some cartoons for you. Go ahead. Okay. Before that, let's see the general nature of mathematics. Let's see first before going to the recreational part. So some quotations on mathematics here. This is something that is my favorite. I like this. Ralph Emerson, a well-known philosopher, writer. His quotation is, "I hate quotations." So see this cyclic loop. This is a quotation, but the quotation says that I hate quotations. Tell me what you know. Many people have often in their speech, they like to cite many people. They just like to say that somebody said like this, somebody else like that, this, and some great people, they keep on quoting. So Emerson says that enough is enough. Tell me what you know, what you exactly know. I want to know that. Okay. So quite a kind of loop, quotation loop. This is second one. Next one. Yeah, this is a very famous quotation by great Galileo. See, the mathematics is everywhere in the nature. That is the philosophy. And that is very clearly captured in this quote. The great book of nature lies ever open before our eyes. And true philosophy is written in it. The word true is very important. So whatever, I mean, I will not go into those details. True philosophy at its core is written in this book, the book of nature. So nature encodes the philosophy, but we cannot read it. So we cannot read the book of nature unless we have first learned the language and the characters in which it is written. To read any book, we have to first understand the language and characters. It is written in mathematical language, and the characters are triangles, circles, and other geometrical figures. Well, all of us would like to read the book of nature to whatever extent we can. Even I'm sure greatest of mathematician cannot read completely. Nature is too vast and always offers several challenges to all scientists, mathematicians. So this entire book is beyond imagination, beyond, we cannot read entire book, but up to our capacity. If we get acquainted with mathematics, then we can read this book because it is written in mathematical language. Next one. This is by Paul Erdos. Paul Erdos is Hungarian mathematician. I mean, relatively, he lived in 20th century and the most prolific great mathematician. He says that if I see really nice proof, oh, there is some typo, I say it comes straight from the book. So mathematics is all about, you know, writing some statement and proving them. It's an extended logic. It's collection of examples encoded in theorems, and theorems will have to be proved. So if I see a nice proof, I say it comes straight from the book. God has a transfinite book which contains all these theorems and their proofs. So there is already a book and God knows all the theorems and proofs. If he is well intentioned towards us, he will show the book for a moment. God will show the book. And you wouldn't have to believe in God, but you must believe that the book exists. Very nice quote. And it also encodes a lot of philosophy in which mathematics has to be done. So nice proofs have to be given. God's proof we must try to imagine. Now let's go to more hardcore fun. Yeah, some cartoons. You can see 10, and one says that you make me feel 10 times stronger, because 1 into 10 is 10. And 0 says to 1 that without you, I'm nothing. So they're talking to each other. Very nice cartoon. You make me feel 10 times stronger. You can just see that. Next one. Oh, I say be rational. But pi says, pi is a very mysterious figure in mathematics. People keep on doing research on pi. It's a very, very important topic in mathematics. But it is not rational. Pi is an irrational number. That's a mathematical fact. Please accept. Get real. Get real. Just rational is not enough. Rationals are countable. Real line is uncountable. There are more real numbers than just pure real number, that is irrational numbers, than rational. So if I want to say be rational, pi says no, no, get real. Next one. Again, pi being an irrational number, not only irrational, it's a transcendental number. It has infinite non-recurring decimal expansion. Now, forget if you don't understand this fact, but pi cannot be expressed in finitely many decimal points. Like 1/2 can be written as 0.05. You cannot write pi in finite decimal expansion. So computer can handle only finite. So pi is telling computer only 140 characters. How can I express myself? I cannot express. Next one. This is the exponential function. derivative of exponential function is itself. So if derivative tries to hit exponential, nothing can happen. Nothing can happen. Next one. What did area say to perimeter while arguing? So the area, which is a field kind of surface, and perimeter are the sides of that surface. So area talking to perimeter, I am trying to talk to you, but I feel like you are just going around my problem. Next one. This is again exponential, but now this is constant times exponential. C e to the power x. And some enemy like derivative comes. Then this constant says that derivative will kill me because derivative of the constant is 0. This derivative will kill me. Then exponential says, come with me. Come with me. That is c times e raised to x. Derivative is again c times e raised to x. So this derivative won't do you anything to you. You just come with me. So unknown constant, and then this exponential, personified here, that exponential telling this constant that come with me. And then when they are together, this man derivative can't do anything to them. Next one. A new dating angle. Hi. I'm saying your acute angle. Saying the reply is thanks for the compliment. You understand this? This is a complementary angle. There will be some mathematics in it. Though these are cartoons, these are maths cartoons. So there will be some maths in it. You just try to understand, try to enjoy. This 90 degrees, one of the angles is 90 and others therefore add up to 90 because sum is 180. So they are complementary angles. So your acute angle, your acute angle, your acute angle. It is written here acute angle. You are acute angle. Thanks for the compliment. So this has to be read like your acute angle. Okay. Next one. Let's go to some poems now. See, this is collection of assorted fun elements from mathematics. Okay. So as our usual lectures on mathematics, this may not have a single theme and may not have any flow. Just, enjoy things one after the other. So we went through some quotations, some cartoons. Now let's see whether mathematics intersects with poetry. Okay. So poem. All of you know, perhaps you have heard about Weierstrass, the founder of the modern analysis, who developed the notion of convergence, which is very important. And without this notion of continuity and convergence, mathematicians cannot live. It's the most important concept in analysis. So Weierstrass, German mathematician, very great person. In fact, about Weierstrass, let me tell you that he started doing mathematics at the age of 40. So it's always never late. So you can, he was a school teacher and started doing serious mathematics at the age of 40, lived long, and then made his mark on the field of mathematics very substantially. Great person. He says that it is true that a mathematician who is not somewhat of a poet will never be a complete mathematician. See, this refers to imagination. This refers to imagination. So poet in the sense that mathematician will have to have some imagination. Without some kind of a poet in you, you can never be a complete mathematician. Next one. This is Voltaire. All of you know him. Again, a great author, philosopher, French person. There is an astonishing imagination even in the science of mathematics. There was far more imagination in the head of Archimedes than in that of Homer. Archimedes and Homer are both ancient Greek scholars. Homer was a literature person, poet, writer. Archimedes, all of you know, Archimedes was a very celebrated Greek mathematician. The Greek period, about 700 years BC to 200 years AD, and the Greek period dominated the world of science, not only science, sculpture, literature, philosophy, everything. So that was a very rich scholarly period, and Archimedes was one of the main figures in that. Next is very funny. This is about Hilbert's former student. So a student left Hilbert. He could not complete his PhD with Hilbert. And Hilbert says, for a mathematician, he did not have enough imagination. But he has become a poet and now he is doing fine. So to be a mathematician, you need perhaps more imagination than want to be a poet. So this is about Hilbert, about a former student. Now, some actual poetry, let's see, some actual poetry. See, this is fun again. This is famous poem by Tennyson, Vision of Sin. And Tennyson says, every moment dies a man, and every moment one is born. Every moment dies a man, and every moment one is born. But mathematicians are too precise. Then our Babbage came. All of you must have heard a very great person, Charles Babbage, who replied to Tennyson. In fact, he wrote a letter to Tennyson saying that what you said is wrong. Every moment dies a man and every moment one is born is not correct. And he studies that and finds the ratio of birth to death, and he writes every moment dies a man, every moment 7/6 is born. So it is not 1, it is 7/6. That is what Charles Babbage thinks. Now, actually Tennyson is a poet and it's a poetry, so one has to take it like that. But then mathematicians are crazy sometimes, not sometimes, many times maybe. And then he wrote a letter back immediately to Tennyson and corrected him on 1 is born. It is actually ratio is 7. And then again also writes, strictly speaking, hello Vipat madam, welcome. Strictly speaking, this is not correct. He says that 7/6 is also not correct. Actual figure is a decimal, too long, but 7/6 will will be sufficiently accurate for poetry. So he finally understands. Vipat madam, please don't present anything. You are presenting something and therefore the original presentation has lost. Vipat madam, please. Hello. Hello, Vipat madam. तुमचं प्रेझेंटेशन प्लीज बंद करता का? Okay. So he understands that it's a poetry, but then he writes that it is 7/6 thing. Okay. Next one. Somebody asked Newton about his opinion on poetry, and Newton said that I will share Barrow's opinion. Barrow was Newton's guide. Barrow was a very famous, barometer, you must have heard. So Barrow was Newton's PhD guide, Lucasian chair professor. And in fact, Barrow gave up his Lucasian chair for Newton, and Newton was his successor in Cambridge on Lucasian chair. So Barrow used to say that poetry is a kind of ingenious nonsense. Okay, that is what Barrow used to say about poetry. Next. And in fact, this one of the Cambridge professor, perhaps Barrow only, after reading Paradise Lost by John Milton, he said that the author has not proved anything. See, actually, Paradise Lost is a 12-volume work, a kind of cohesive poetry, more than 1,000 verses and over 10 volumes. It's a very famous poem, Paradise Lost by John Milton. But Barrow is not impressed. He says that after reading all this, there is no proof. He has not proved anything in this book. So, go ahead. Pope, again, 17th century, in his epitaph intended for Sir Isaac Newton, he says, nature and nature's laws lay hid in night. Nature and nature's laws lay hid in night. God said, let Newton be. God said, let Newton be, and all was light, and all was light. So this is in the honor of Sir Isaac Newton, I don't have to say anything about Newton. Everyone, every individual on this earth knows who Newton was. Newton is not just a scientist, philosopher. It's to underestimation. He was a great step in the history of evolution, the history of mankind, and the laws of motion are so beautiful, so symmetric, and it gives rise to such a vast amount of knowledge, and not just laws of motion, optics, geometry, and whatnot, algebra, binomial theorem. I can go on, and only Newton one can have not just one, many lectures, maybe. Great man. These are some actual real poems on mathematics. So this is from Feelings and Dealings by Reza Nawabari. In a math book, there is a wisdom. In a math book, there is a wisdom. In a theorem, there is a kingdom. In a theorem, there is a kingdom. No solution can be made up or faked. You cannot fake in mathematics. You have to prove everything. No solution can be made up. You cannot make up anything. You cannot manipulate. You have to prove everything. No solution can be made up or faked. The reasoning buys you freedom. Last line is very important. Whenever there is reasoning, your mind is free. You know what is going on. You know what is going on. You're not confused. Very subtle line. The reasoning buys you freedom. Well, this in praise of fractals. Fractal is a geometric object. Emily Gruchal's from Stars of Earth. Euclid's geometry cannot describe, nor Apollonius, the shape of mountains. So limitation of geometry. See, the book of nature is very vast. So that is depicted in this poem. Euclid's geometry cannot describe, nor Apollonius, the shape of mountains. Puddles, clouds, peninsula, or trees. Clouds are never spheres. The shapes of the clouds, can you really put in some geometric objects? Clouds are never spheres. Nor mountains, cones, nor ponderosas, spines. Bark is not smooth. And where the land and sea, very nice words, where the land and sea so variously lie about each other. And lightly case, it's not hyperbola. It's not hyperbola. So all these happenings in nature, all these wonders of nature, you cannot put in geometric object. You cannot put them in. So this is also one side. The nature, the things around us are too vast. Mathematicians would like to put them in, some sizes, shapes, but that's not enough in praise of fractals. Next one. I'm going to give you references for all these poems. There are many more beautiful poems on mathematics. I will show you the reference. Now some teasers. Let's come to some teasers on pure mathematics. See, there are roughly two branches. One is pure mathematics and applied mathematics. Pure mathematics is mathematics done for the sake of itself, for your own pleasure. Like you listen to music or do music. You don't ask what is use of music. Okay. Beauty is beauty. And utility, philosophers also always thought of as secondary. Okay. So, applied mathematics is good, useful, but pure mathematics is pure mathematics ultimately. It has its own flavor. But see here what is written. A librarian in a library decides to remove all the controversial books from the library, and when the task was over, nothing remained on the shelves but mathematics books. Again, very subtle, because you pick up any other subject, say economics, you will find something that, somebody will say, no, this is not true, something controversial. Even in the domain of science, physics, Newton said something and Einstein came up with a correction. Okay, so there was a controversy in the sense that nothing is ultimately true there. It depends on this, an observational science. Same with chemistry, same with biology, different theories will come. So you don't want a single controversial work, and only such books you want to have on the shelves. Then you are left with only pure mathematics books, because that is purely logic. There cannot be any controversial. Nothing like that exists in actual world. You are just talking about logic, and it can't be controversial. Okay. So that's pure mathematics. Next one. The professor. Now, how the mathematics professor looks like. People always make fun of mathematics professor, forgetful and all that. He's never smart, very shy person, things like that. A traditional mathematics professor is supposed to be absent-minded. He appears in the class with a lost umbrella in each hand. He writes A. He says B. Actually, he means C, but it should be D. Actually, it should have been D. That's fun of a conventional mathematics teacher, professor. Next one. See, comparison with lovers. Mathematicians are like lovers. Why? Grant him a least principle, grant him something small, least principle, and he will draw from it a consequence. You must also grant him. So he will go on, will argue and ask for more. And from this consequence, another. Like lovers do. Like lovers do, just something, then go on and things like that. You understand the meaning. So mathematicians are like lovers. Okay, fine. Next one. Now, statistics, we always say, statistics emerged as a separate branch in last maybe more than 300 years. Pascal was a person who brought it into mainstream, and probability is the main subject in statistics that we actually think of. But as such, many people think that statistics is a branch of mathematics. We generally call it as a sister concern. Statistics as a sister concern. But anyway, it's a great subject, very applied in nature and very useful in social sciences and in other subjects. But some fun with statistics. Mathematicians always want to do some fun with statisticians. So about statistics, Mark Twain says, all of you know Mark Twain, very famous writer. There are three kinds of lies. Lies, damn lies. And highest degree is statistics. Next one. Andrew Lang, again British person, he uses statistics as a drunk uses street lamp, more for support rather than illumination. So statisticians use statistics like a drunk uses street lamp, for support rather than illumination. Next one. This is Russell Lewis. Russell Lewis is met with some beggar in the Parliament Square. So in the Parliament Square, a beggar said to statistician, give me a copper, I haven't eaten for 3 days. So beggar says. So moment he hears the words 3 days, he said, and how does that compare with the same period last year? So statistician in him, immediately wants to know the period, this 3 days, was it 3 days last year or 4 days or 2 days, whatever it is. So again, this is some fun with statisticians. Next one. George Canning, I can prove anything by statistics. What? Except for the truth. Okay, go ahead. Now see some amazing number patterns. Let's go through some amazing number patterns. 1 into 1, 11 into 11, 1, 1, 1 into 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and go on, so on. Last line is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 9 times, and you get some number there. What is that number? What is that number? Can you tell me? What is that number? What is peculiarity of that number? What the answer? 9 times 1 digits into again 9 times, you get something. What do you say? Shubha, you're right. Sangeeta, you're right. Yeah, very good, very good. Oh, good observation. Mandar, next. Some of you have guessed they are palindromes. They are palindromes. The product on the right hand side are palindromes. That is, they read the same from both ends. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, again 8, 7. So even if you read from right, you will read the same number. Okay. Try this out, these products, if you want later. Now this 76923 is also one such peculiar number. So I have calculated some products for you. And what is peculiarity on the right hand side? So you see that same numbers get repeated, only 0 is added. So first product is this. Now the first digit on the first row goes as the last digit. So 0 goes as the last digit in the second row. And that pattern continues. So 7 is the first digit in the second calculation, which goes in the as a last digit in the third. So it's a kind of cyclic permutation of the digits 0, 7, 6, 9, 2, 3. So 7, 6, 9, 2, 3 multiplied by certain numbers, you give you permutations of the same number 7, 6, 9, 2, 3 in certain cyclic order. You see no other numbers appear as products. Only 7, 6, 9, 2, 3 and 0. Only the products are only within those digits. And that also a kind of cyclic permutation you can see there. The products on the right hand side are special permutations of 7, 6, 9, 2, 3, 0. The numbers in the same order but with different starting point. Keep this for a second, Mandar. Okay, go ahead. Then some amazing numbers again, facts. Always people ask why such things happen. There are mathematical reasons, but they look beautiful. 1 raised to 1 plus 3 square plus 5 cube. And the number is again 135 because we are using on the left hand side 135. You see that? Next, 175 has same property. 1 raised to 1 plus 7 square plus 5 cube is 175. 5 raised to 1 plus 1 raised to 2 plus 8 raised to 3, 518. Next. Now 4 terms. Of course, one of them is 0, but the number is 4 digit 1306 1676. See, left hand side, I am considering only powers of numbers which are appearing on the right hand side. So 3, 4, 3, 5, then I am considering addition of powers of 3, 4, 3, 5 only. Some suitable powers. Not just suitable, 3 is raised to 3 only, and 4 is raised to 4, and 3 again is raised to 3, and 5 is raised to 5. Beautiful equation. If I have base 3, then I am raising 3. 4 raised to 4. Go on. And see the last one. Beautiful. It's a large number, but each digit you raise to the same. That is 4 then raised to 4. 3 then raised to 3. 8 raised to 8. And so on. Now you will wonder what is 0 raised to 0, because in mathematics generally 0 raised to 0 is thought of as undetermined. But for making this equation true, let's think of this 0 raised to 0 to be 0. So if you add the right hand side, you will get the number on the left hand side, and such a beautiful symmetry, same number raised to same number and things like that. Maybe I will give you these files. You need not write or something like that. Maybe I will share this someday with you. Now, there is some kind of short puzzle for you. Short puzzle. Mandar, just show this. Look and say sequence. Great fun. Look and say. So 1. Please listen to carefully also, because there is something called say also. Look and say both. So I am looking at the numbers and saying also. So listen carefully how I say. 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. Can you guess the next number? Can you guess? And the hint is in the title, that look and say. Look and say. Can anybody? If you can unmute. You can unmute and utter the next. Let me give you a hint. First number is 1. So how will I read? How will I read that? 1 1. There is only 1 1, na? So I will read it as 1 1. That is the next number. Then next number is 1 1, but how will I read it? How will I say that? 2 1. That is the third number. Now 2 1, how will I read? Because in 2 1 there is 1 2 and 1 1. So I will read 1 2 1 1. Have you understood? So that is the next number. Then 1 2 1 1 I will read as 1 1 1 2 2 1. 1 1 1 2 2 1. So the next one is, if I read the next one now, the next term reads like this. So it should start with what? 3 1. It should start with 3 1, because 1 1 1 I will read at 3 1. So show next. Yeah, 3 1 1 3. It goes like this. This is very interesting. And if you are more interested and if you really want to spend your time on this, there is a deep problem here. The deep problem is that can you estimate the number of digits in the next one? Can you estimate the number of digits that will appear? So in the first term, there is 1 digit, next is 2, again 2, then 4, and so on. So can we really guess the number of digits? Next one. This is again a curious property, that 12 square plus 33 square is 1233. Hendrik Lenstra. Are there any other numbers with this property? It is 12 square plus 33 square, and the number is 1233. Because that is formed by 12 and 33. Okay. Are there any other numbers with this property? Next. There are many such. 88 square plus 33 square is 8833, and so on. See the last one, really huge, but it obeys the equation. That's the beauty. 1666 cube, and so on. And all those numbers are sitting on the right hand side. Okay, next one. I'm going a little faster because we want to do much more. Now, irrepressible one. So this is called 3n plus 1 problem. So this is again a kind of short puzzle. You choose any number. If it is odd, then multiply by 3 and add 1. That is perform 3n plus 1. If your number is n, then 3n plus 1. Whenever you have even number, then divide by 2 and continue this process. So you can just note this process and try for yourself afterwards. That take any number, if odd, perform 3n plus 1, and if even, divided by 2, and keep on doing this. So irrespective of the number chosen, after finite repetitions, you will end up getting 1. So after certain time, you continue this, you will end up getting 1. That's it. Next. So I have given some example here. So if we choose 14, it is even. So our step says that divide by 2. So we get 7. Now 7 is odd. So our step says that multiply by 3 and add 1. So you get 3 times 7, 21 plus 1, 22. That is even. So next will be 11, and so on. I have computed the next one, that sequence. Ultimately, it will end in 1. Now, instead of 14, you choose anything else. It will end with 1. It will end with 1. Next one. The process has been verified up to a large number. So maybe 10 to the power 18, such huge number. Up to that, this property is verified to be true by computers. However, the problem is still unsolved. So I'm happy today I'm sharing some unsolved problem with you. So, I mean, such problems are very tough always. So you want to prove that, you will always end up with 1. A theoretical proof, not just taking some example, however large number, you want to prove for every number. No? So proof is still missing. So this is a 3n plus 1 problem, this is called, in number theory. So this is an unsolved problem. Next. Similarly, perhaps some of you know about Kaprekar sir. He was a school teacher from Devdali near Nashik, but a very great person, and ultimately he went on the world map, though he lived in a village kind of town kind of thing, Devdali, and his constant is very famous now, called Kaprekar constant, and many people have published papers on Kaprekar constant. So choose any 4-digit number, form a largest out of it. So if you have 4-digit number, take form from those 4 digits the largest and smallest, and make a subtraction, and then keep doing this. Apply similar process on the resulting number. After finitely many steps, you always get 6174. Very amazing. Of course, or 0, because if you take 1111, then largest smallest is also 1111, and answer will be 0. But if you take distinct digits, you will get 6174 always. So this is Kaprekar constant. Next. Yeah, again I have given some example. So 1217. Now the largest from these digits is 7211, and the smallest is 1127, because you are using digits of your chosen number. Now subtract smaller from larger, then you get 6084. Again do the same thing. The largest will be 8640 and so on. Keep doing this, keep doing this. You ultimately stabilize to Kaprekar constant 6174. Very amazing property, very interesting. Next one. Voduni's magic. Voduni's magic. This also you can impress others by showing this magic. Enter your house number. Oh, by the way, Voduni was a great mathematical magician. I mean, a very nice person. Double it, add 42, multiply by 50, subtract the year of your birth, subtract 50, add a number of birthdays you have had so far, 0 or 1, subtract 31. These are steps. So suppose house number is 603 and year of birth is 1963, then the following steps above get the numbers. So see the last number in this. If you apply these steps, last number is 60357. So first 3 digits was actually your house number. And 57 is your age, because your birth is 1963. So your age is 57. So these steps magically gives you, of course, this magic can be deciphered by algebra by putting some X, Y, so on, but then it looks nice. Next. Oh. Now let me tell you some stories. I don't know how far I can go. I have 15 minutes left. So let me tell you Wiener's new address story. So this is a story. These are stories about mathematicians. So Wiener, Norberto Wiener, American mathematician, very famous again, very famous analyst, but he was very forgetful. He was very forgetful. And everyone knows about his forgetfulness. He used to always be engrossed in his mathematical thoughts. Doesn't know anything much that is going around him. So this Wiener family changed their house. And wife wants to ensure that after office hours, her husband Norberto should come to the new house, because they are shifting to new house. And Wiener says, oh, no. These are very important things. How can I forget that? Don't worry, give me address. I will come to new house in the evening. Don't worry. So wife very carefully gives new address on a piece of paper to Wiener. Wiener puts that paper in his pocket, goes to his office, starts doing mathematics. What will happen? He's engrossed in mathematical thought, and some thought comes to his mind, some idea. He takes out the piece of paper from his pocket and writes right on the back side of that paper where address was written. Now, after a while, he thinks that the idea was not good, so he throws away that paper. And naturally, the address also goes. And the evening, naturally, Wiener vaguely remembers something, that, oh, there is some address change thing that was going on in the morning in the house. But I don't remember. I don't have that piece of paper. So let me go back to my old house. So he goes back to his old house. A small girl is sitting there. Wiener asks this small baby girl, oh, baby, can you help me? Can you help me? I am trying to find address of my new house. The baby replies, Dad, I knew this. Mother told me that go and sit there. Chalo, we'll go to our new house. That was Norbert Wiener. So for a moment, he forgot that the small baby was his daughter. Next, Fermat's last theorem. Fermat was a French mathematician, lawyer to start with. See, these people were kind of universalists. So he was in judiciary, but turned to his passion, that is mathematics, and is immortal for his last theorem, which remained unsolved for more than 300 years. Andrew Wiles, British mathematician, solved very recently, 1993, and Fermat was in 17th century. And his story is that he writes the problem in a notebook. X to the power n plus y to the power n equal to z to the power n has no solution in the set of integers. Forget about the statement. Don't try to think about the statement. The story goes that Fermat writes in his notebook that the margin of this notebook is too small to contain the solution. That means he has not written the solution there, but he has written that he knows the solution, and then he dies. The diary shows that problem is written and solution is also known to Fermat, but solution is not there. And the problem remained unsolved for more than 300 years. One of the toughest problems in math, turned out. And all the modern mathematical techniques have been employed. Whatever was developed in 300 years, they employed to solve this problem. So that is Fermat's last theorem story about the Fermat's diary. Next thing. So Hardy, we met last time in Ramanujan's lecture. He used this trick of Fermat in a very jokingly way. He was traveling by a boat and traveling to London, and he thought that this boat may sink. He may die here on this boat. So why not claim that I have proved something? Like Fermat wrote that I know the solution, but the margin is too small. So he sends a telegram to England, London, from boat, that I have solved Riemann hypothesis. Riemann hypothesis is a celebrated unsolved problem which is still unsolved. Now it is declared as a millennium problem. So anyone who will solve this will get 1 millennium. If you are interested, please call me. I will tell you the statement. You may try. If you solve, you will get $1 million plus fame overnight. So this Riemann hypothesis, he sends telegram to London that I have solved the Riemann hypothesis, period. G.H. Hardy. And he was trying on that. He was a great mathematician. So people in England believe that on this travel, Hardy must have solved Riemann hypothesis. So they believed in it. And then ultimately, when the boat reached London, Hardy confessed that he has not solved, but he just tried something like Fermat, that if he dies, then it will be on the name of Hardy forever that I have solved this. I am running short of time. Gauss as a child prodigy. All of you know that, when he was 5, Gauss is called Prince of Mathematician. And when he was 5, in his class, teacher wanted some time for her work, and he told students to add numbers from 1 to 100. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus up to 100. And she thought so many numbers to be added. So students will take at least 10-15 minutes. Gauss, in a fraction of a second, raised his hand and told that he has found the answer. And his method was very ingenious. That is pairing the numbers 100, 299, 398, and such 50 pairs. Very nice method. So he was a child prodigy. He started working from this age only, say 5 or 7 or 11. He proved a major theorem. He lived very long, and therefore he made his mark on various branches of mathematics. The greatest idea, I think, is idea of curvature that Gauss gave. Next. Maybe some stories I will omit and then go ahead. Next slide, maybe. There is nice stories, this, but I am afraid I want to show more slides on other topics. Okay, next. Some jokes here. No words. One by one, Mandar. Dirichlet was opposed to writing letters. Dirichlet never wrote letters to anyone. Many of his friends never received any communication from his in course of their lives. Nobody received any letters from Dirichlet. Dirichlet, again, German mathematician. However, when his first child was born, he broke the silence and wrote to his father-in-law. Can you guess what he must have written? Sure. 2 plus 1 equal to 3. When his first child was born, he wrote a letter to his father-in-law. Just one line, 2 plus 1 equal to 3. Next is, please bear with me. What is polar bear? Answer, a Cartesian bear after a change of coordinates. There are two coordinate system, Cartesian and polar. Polar bear is change of coordinates of the Cartesian bear. Next one. Poisson. On a second-hand mathematics book, it was revealed that on the front side of the cover, there was a label stick on it with an inscription, Poisson, not to be touched. Next. Why no Nobel Prize for Mathematics? Many of you must be knowing that there is no Nobel Prize for Mathematics. What must be the reason? There are several stories explaining the reason. Next. One popular story is Nobel's wife had an affair with the well-known Swedish mathematician Mittag Leffler. Mittag Leffler was a Swedish mathematician, and Nobel is also a Swedish person and founded this Nobel Foundation, and all about Nobel Prizes. So one story, some people say she ran away with Mittag Leffler also. I mean, there is very little truth in this, as you will see. Next one. There is a problem in the story because Nobel never married. Okay. But people want to gossip, no? So next. Then some versions replace wife by fiancé or mistress. Okay. People wanted to continue this story, but when it was revealed that Nobel never married, they replaced wife by fiancé or mistress. But Mittag Leffler was attached to the story. Another story suggests that Mittag Leffler was very wealthy and did something to annoy Nobel. So that was another several stories why there is no Nobel Prize for Mathematics. Next one. Some think that there was no reason for dropping maths, but it just never occurred to Nobel. See, it's an accident. Nobel never thought of mathematics at that time, which is very unlikely also, but yeah, that is one theory. However, several mathematicians won Nobel Prize actually for their contributions in other peripheral subjects, other subjects which go very close, and they typically physics and economics. The most well-known example is John Nash. All of you must have seen this movie, Beautiful Mind. Game theory fame, John Nash. I wish I could have given one full lecture on John Nash and glimpses of game theory. So John Nash won Nobel Prize in 90s for his contributions in mathematical economics, I must say, and the invention of something called game theory. Next. There is an equivalent prize called Fields Medal. The Fields Medal was instituted by a Canadian thing. You can read that. It is given only up to age of 40. Okay. So very jokingly, I tell all my students that now I cannot get Fields Medal, but all of you can get, because students are below 20, typically undergraduate, postgraduate students. Of course, it's very difficult, and every 4 years it is given, and it is considered to be equivalent to Nobel Prize in prestige. Okay, first Nobel Prize goes to Lars Alfors, and there is famous book on complex analysis by Alfors. From 1936 to 2014, no Indian won Fields Medal. But Manjul Bhargava, you must have heard his name, became very popular after winning Fields Medal. He was part of the committee for new education policy also recently. So Manjul Bhargava, the first Indian to win Fields Medal, also recipient of Padma Bhushan and FRS. Great person, very young mathematician. Because naturally, 2014, he won Fields Medal, and he must be less than 40 at that time. He is, by the way, students of Andrew Wiles, who solved Fermat's theorem ultimately. He is PhD student of Andrew Wiles. Next one. ICM Madrid My special memories, therefore, I will spend month in it. I got opportunity to go to this International Congress of Mathematicians, where these Fields medals are distributed, and very special thing happened at that time. Therefore, I wanted to tell this story. One of the great mathematical minds, Australian-American mathematician Terence Tao won Fields medal that time, and Grigory Perelman, Russian mathematician, very great, who solved Poincare conjecture, which was declared as millennium problem, and a drama happened. I witnessed that. I was there. Perelman did not turn up. He refused to accept Fields medal. See, Fields medal is very tough. In fact, much tougher than even Nobel Prize. First of all, it is given below 40 and prestige is very high. And only if you work in several different areas and very great topmost person in mathematics, then only you can get it. But Perelman simply refused it even after solving Poincare conjecture. He sent a letter to the organizers, and the letter was read out. I was there, and he said that I'm not interested in prizes and awards, and I don't believe in this. And that was a great kind of drama there. People are striving, great mathematicians. The Fields medal is a star war. But Perelman thought that nothing doing, I don't want awards. Later on, because of Poincare conjecture was declared as millennium problems, he was offered $1 million also, but Perelman also refused to accept $1 million prize. In fact, he left mathematics after that, and he said that that's not the only thing I want to do in my life. I did Poincare conjecture, solved it. You go ahead and read it, whatever you want to do it. I don't want prizes, money, anything. A very different kind of individuals, very different vision of life we get from such people. Next one. If you thought mathematicians are good at calculations, see, this is again a myth that mathematicians are good at calculations. Even in my college, after change of 6th pay to 7th pay or arrears or whatever, my colleagues asked me how to compute these arrears, and when we fumble, they said, "Oh, you're a mathematics person, how you cannot calculate?" Well, mathematics has nothing to do with computations as such. Mathematics is all about logic. No, it is about logic. It is abstract science. So Kumar, great algebraist, could not calculate on some occasion, 9 into 7. Oh, this 6 is misprint. 9 into 7. So answer should have been 63. He was fumbling, and some students suggested it's 61. Kumar wrote 61 on the board actually. Other students say, "No, professor, it should be 67. Come on, gentlemen," said Kumar. "It can't be both. It can't be both. It must be one of them." So he finally could never make out what is 9 into 7. It's a joke, but in general, it's a misunderstanding that mathematicians should be good at calculations. Next one. Some of them are not getting the picture, but I don't know. Most of them are getting, I think. Interesting numbers. So there is a theorem. All numbers are interesting. So some theorem proof I'm giving you in this lecture. So you know how to prove this by contradiction. So all numbers are interesting. We want to prove. Suppose not. If that is not true, there exists an uninteresting number, and thus a smallest uninteresting number. But then this property itself is very interesting, that this is the smallest uninteresting number. So there is a contradiction. So we have proved the theorem that all numbers are interesting. Next one. Now the same proof works for all numbers are boring. Because again, if not, there is the smallest boring number, but that itself is a very, very dull property and things like that. Next one. Now it is easily seen from those above theorem that every number is both interesting and boring. So because P and Q are true, then P and Q is also true. Next one. The pleasure of proof. Hardy once told Russell that if we could find the proof that I was going to die in 5 minutes, kind of black comedy, he would of course be sorry to lose me, but the sorrow would be quite outweighed by the pleasure in the proof. So Hardy would say that I would be more pleased than losing you. Next one. The title of a book was Elementary Number Theory, but it was very tough book actually. I know the book, it's a very tough book. So reviewer of the book wrote that only elementary numbers in this book are page numbers. This sarcastic comment. Next one. Okay, now I'm coming to the end of my presentation. It's 5:32. Sorry for some delay, but there is a very nice movie, Walt Disney movie on mathematics. Walt Disney movie on mathematics. So please go through it for 2 minutes. Mandar?
Yes, yes, sir.
Walt Disney. This is 27 minutes movie. I'm going to share link of this movie on our group so that leisurely you can watch that. So Donald Duck into mathematical world. Where is music, Mandar? I can't hear.
It's on, sir.
Okay, perhaps fine. Hope others can listen. I can't, but fine.
Not able to hear, sir.
I can't, but if others can. Anyway, we are going to share. No
Yeah.
audio.
Oh,
Not audio.
oh, sorry.
Fine, Mandar.
No.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Go to next.
Yeah.
Next is just two minutes movie. This movie will share on the group.
Yeah.
Next, let's try the next one.
Yeah, just a minute, sir. Should actually share the audio. I don't know why.
Yeah. No audio again.
No audio. Oh.
No audio again. This is also a very funny movie again. Just 2 minutes movie I wanted to show you. Again, I will share the video so that you can watch again. Fine, Mandar, come out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because this is typically based on the dialogues. So we cannot. So we'll share this on the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, now make the platform open. Yes, just come to the presentation. These are some references. These are minimum references I have given. Max Chalmers, Zamenthier, Penguin book. This is very, very nice book. Penguin book of curious and interesting mathematics. This is actually a series of books, Penguin books. Then Stewart's also, if you just type Ian Stewart, you know, the treasure of recreational mathematics will be with you because he is the main person there. Martin Gardner, Richard Gay, and Ian Stewart. Okay. Gardner and Gay I have not used in this lecture. As I told you, that this is not even fraction of recreational mathematics that I shared with you in today's lecture. So one can have, entire series of lectures on only fun mathematics. So only 15 lectures on only such recreational fun mathematics. We have one more session on puzzles and games where I will get chance to show you something. Next. Yeah, I am done with my presentation and took some 10 minutes. We have another 37 minutes left. So if you have anything to ask, comment, show, you are most welcome. Thank you very much. You can unmute your audios as well as videos and talk. I will appreciate if you participate. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Yes, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was a very nice session. But the only thing was I couldn't recollect fast from the slides. So I hope that those slides means what you were.
Yeah. I will share the slides in due course.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, we have 5-7 minutes. If you want to comment, if you want to have any, if you want to offer some suggestions, whatever you want to say, you are most welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Nivedita,
Can
go
I
ahead.
read? Yes. Can I read one poem done by me on this
Yeah.
occasion?
Please go ahead.
Yes. The name of the poem is Void. Every point counts. Every point counts. Every line matters. Every point counts. Every line matters. Every plane covers. Every plane covers. Every volume contains. And every moment goes.
Okay.
Every life teaches. Every person says. Every life teaches. Every person says. Every creature builds. Every thought goes. Every matter exists. Every matter exists. Every number runs. Every matter exists. Every number runs. Every pen writes. Every writer thinks. And everything goes. What remains is not seen. What remains is not seen. We trust that it exists. That exists. That was my poem.
Wonderful. Good. Very nice.
Thank you.
Whenever we will have session on puzzles, I will declare 1 week before and maybe give puzzles to you for solving, and if possible you can bring the solutions that time. Not next week. Whenever it will happen, I will let you know beforehand.
Solapurkar sir, this is Vinayak Godbole. This was a very good session.
Hello, Godbole sir. Hello. Yes.
Yeah, it was very good, and there is an interesting anecdote about Ramanujan. Very quickly, I will, if there is time, I can narrate the story.
Please go ahead. Yes.
He invited a friend of his, was getting married or was already married, and he invited, while he was in UK, he invited his friend and the bride to be or his wife and another friend of her wife to his home for lunch or dinner. And then Ramanujan used to cook himself. So he cooked a very good dinner for them and he served them soup. And the first round and the soup was excellent. So the guests liked it. So he served them another round. They liked it. Then he came up with the third round of soup. And the lady politely refused because they had maybe the too much of it.
Yes.
And Ramanujan didn't like it because he thought that they are not appreciating what he prepared or cooked. So he just left the place. And as the story goes, the guests are waiting, and 10 o'clock the hostel has to close. So they had to go back. And later on, he meets Ramanujan and asks him the reason. So he said, well, I thought they were not very appreciative of my cooking skills. So this is the
Eccentric.
eccentric side of
Yes.
But then they said this is the outward manifestation of whatever was going inside him.
Yeah.
So, you know, these guys are always in a state of
Yeah,
emotional
Ramanujan,
trauma.
one is always, it is difficult to make out what is going on.
Yeah, that's true. So I said I will
Yeah,
just
thanks
narrate
for
it. I
sharing.
put the, yeah. So this is how it is. But good, I'm enjoying, like I'm
Thanks,
sure
thanks.
everybody else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, point is that this idea itself, maths for everyone, is for enjoyment. I mean, I don't want to teach mathematics per se here. These are mathematics lectures. Okay.
Yeah.
Therefore, they are a bit difficult for me also because, talking mathematics is perhaps easier than, this lighter side is because mathematics teachers are used to go to board and start writing mathematics. Once theorem is written, some hint for the proof is there, and then follow that, and then keep doing mathematics. That is interesting always, but easy to deal with.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll meet next week,
Yeah.
same time, same place, with some other interesting topic. Goodbye.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mandar, for helping in sharing the slides.
My pleasure.
Oh, it looks like Sai has joined now.
Yes, she has joined in between only.
I joined, sir.
Okay.